So in this video, we're going to introduce determinants. We use matrices for determinants. So every n by n matrix is associated with a real number called the determinant of A, written these straight bars A. This does not mean absolute value. Whenever you have a capital letter in there, that means a matrix, and these straight bars represent the determinant. So when we're looking at the determinant of a 2 by 2, what we're going to do is we're going to have these four numbers in here, and we're going to take this diagonal, what we call the forward diagonal, minus the back diagonal. Okay? So when we look at an example where I have let B be the matrix 5, 2, -8, -4, and I want to find the determinant, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5 times -4, and then the formula says minus, and then I'm going to take 2 times a -8, this direction right here. So now I have the determinant of B is equal to a -20 minus a -16. Remember, two negatives make a positive. So the determinant of B is equal to -20 plus 16. So the determinant of B is equal to a -4. Now this is a 2 by 2. When we get into the 3 by 3s, it's a little bit more difficult because we have more numbers here, okay? So when we're talking about the determinant of a 3 by 3, what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the first two columns. These two columns, we're going to repeat them. That way we can have good diagonals on here, okay? And so after I've repeated these two columns, it's going to be the sum of my forward slashes, so these right here, okay, minus the sum of my back slashes, or my back diagonals, so these. So if you notice, for the positives, we're going to start here at the top left and do 3 diagonals. For the subtraction, we're going to take down here at the bottom left and go up for 3 diagonals. So let's try this on this example. Let A be the matrix 2, 1, 0, -3, 4, 2, 5, -5, -6. And so I want the determinant of A. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come over here and set up this matrix again, copying down the first columns. So here's my matrix. And then I'm going to repeat these first two columns. 2, 1, 0, -3, 4, 2. Now I can find the determinant a little bit easier. So I'm going to take 2 times 4 times a -6. So it's going to be 2, 4 times a -6. And since I'm still on the forward diagonals, I'm going to do plus. And then I'm going to take -3, -5, and 0. So -3 times a -5 times a 0. I'm still on my forward, so I'm going to put a plus. And then I'm going to take 5, 1, and 2. So 5 times 1 times a 2. So this finishes out my 3 forward diagonals. So I'm going to come to my backward diagonals, And so whenever I do this, I start out with a minus sign, and I'm going to do 0, 4, 5. So 0 times 4 times 5. I have another minus sign, and I'm going to do 2, negative 5, 2. So 2, negative 5, 2. I'll have another minus sign. Notice I'll have 3 positives, 3 negatives where I'm writing this out. And I'm going to do my last diagonal, negative 6, 1, negative 3. So negative 6, 1, negative 3. Now I'm just going to do the multiplication for each of these. And so I'm going to have the determinant of A is equal to, and then 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times a negative 6 gives me a negative 48. Plus, negative 3 times negative 5 is 15 times 0 is 0. We like it when there's zeros in there. Plus, 5 times 1 is 5. Times a 2 gives me a 10. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 minus signs in here so that I don't have to keep covering them up with the colors. So 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 5 is still 0. 2 times a negative 5 is negative 10. Times a 2 gives me a negative 20. Negative 6 times 1 gives me a negative 6. Negative 6 times a negative 3 gives me a positive 18. So now I'm going to start the simplification. Remember that these two negatives become positive. So the determinant of A, well, negative 48 plus 0 is still negative 48, plus a 10 gives me a negative 38. I took these and added them. Then I now have plus 20 minus 18. So the determinant of A, if I add these two, give me a negative 18 minus 18. So the determinant of A is a negative 36. Now we use determinants to help us solve systems of equations, and that's what we'll get to in another video. So practice getting the determinants of 2 by 2s and 3 by 3s, and let me know if you have questions.